Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are and what time of day it is when you watch this video. My name is Z, and welcome back to my gaming corner. In today's episode, I'm going to go over the rules of transmogrification with you. This is Transmogrification 101, the basics. This is what you need to know about transmogrifying. The first thing you need to understand about transmogrification is that to transmogrify something is to take a piece of equipment, a weapon, a piece of armor, and make it look like something else. So what you can do is you could go raiding and get your real nice raid gear, and then you could transmog that raid gear to look like the really cool PvP set you got from doing your raided battlegrounds. That way you could look like you want to look and still have the best items equipped. For example, my eye level currently is 446, but I have all of my nice gear transmogrified into eye level 198 stuff, which is tier 19 from the Nighthold. I'm wearing 446 gear, but I have it looking like something that is 198 gear. And there are some rules to transmogrification that you need to know. Namely that you cannot transmog something to look like something that is different than it. For example, you cannot make plate shoulders look like leather shoulders or like cloth shoulders. You can't take mail pants and make them look like plate pants. You cannot take swords and make them look like daggers. Does that make sense? Plate can only be transmogged into other items that are plate. Cloth can only be transmogged into other items that are cloth. And so it goes for the other armor types. Secondly, you cannot transmog white or gray items. For example, your level 1, level 2, level 3 characters that are still wearing the base gear that you get when you make a new character. That stuff is white and gray. You cannot transmog that stuff. Next, you have to have acquired the appearance for your character. And the way that you acquire appearances is you have to get it as a boss drop, buy it from the auction house, get it from another player, but it has to be for your character class. For example, I'm a paladin. I cannot add cloth items to my appearance collection unless I get that cloth item on a cloth-wearing class, like a priest, a mage, or a warlock. Mages and warlocks cannot add plate pieces to their appearance collection unless they are on a class that wears plate armor, like paladins and death knights. And the other rule you need to understand is that while some items can be transmogged to look like other items, for example, swords can be transmogged to look like axes and maces, and polearms in some cases, the true is not always the same in reverse. For example, staves, like staff weapons, can look like polearms if the character class can equip polearms. For example, warlocks can equip staves, but they cannot equip polearms. Whereas druids can equip both staves and polearms if they want. Warriors can equip staves and polearms if they want. So for those classes, if you can equip it, then you can transmog into it. I cannot make my sword look like a staff because I cannot equip staves. Plus, that's also not one of the rules of transmog. So you have to be able to equip the item in order for you to be able to transmog into that item. If you cannot equip daggers, you will never be able to transmog your stuff to look like daggers. For you rogues out there that use daggers and one-handed swords, you cannot make a one-handed sword look like a two-handed sword because you cannot equip it. Warlocks can make staff weapons look like other staff weapons, but they can't make them look like polearms because they can't equip polearms. Does that make sense? You have to be able to equip the item in order for you to be able to transmog into that item. And then please note that there is a cost associated with transmogrification, and that cost is usually the vendor resale value of the item you are transmogrifying. For example, if I open up my character pane here and I come over to my boots, for example, you see how the sell price on that is 58 gold, 67.96, 58 gold. So let's go into the transmogrifier. Let's go into the transmogrifier, and we'll click on the transmogrifier. I have all the tools necessary to adjust the appearance of your weapons and armor. Shall we begin? Yes. If I click on my boots and I want to make them look like something other boots, I have to pay 58 gold, 67.96. So the cost to transmogrify your armor and weapons is usually the resale value of that item. For example, my boots are 58 gold, 67.96 to sell it to the vendor. Therefore, I have to pay the vendor sell price to transmogrify that item. If you look at the Dino Bone Cracker, 136.14.37. If I wanted to transmogrify this to look like something else, I have to pay 136.14.37. And if I want to transmogrify my boots and my weapon, it takes that and adds the 58.67.96 to it. And if you don't have enough money, it's going to appear in red and you won't be able to click the apply button. Now, some other fun things that you can do with transmogrification in the transmogrification menu. There's this drop-down menu right here where you can save and create all sorts of new outfits. Like, for example, if I wanted to transmogrify into the High Lord Battle Plate, I click on that, and I can transmogrify into the base Tier 9 from normal Nighthold, because I have that whole set. If I wanted to transmogrify into the Heroism gear, that's a dungeon set. You can create sets for anything you want. You can name them anything you want, and then put the pieces up for what you want that set to look like. And then if you get a new piece of gear that's better than what you were wearing, all you have to do is click on the set you're transmogging into, and it will automatically transmog the new piece of gear into that set because it's the only thing that needs to be transmogrified. If I'm transmogrifying into my High Lord battle gear, which is the mythic stuff, I don't have to pay anything because the stuff is already transmogrified into it. But if I equipped like a new pair of pants or a new belt, I would then click on High Lord battle gear and it would only transmogrify the belt while keeping all the other pieces the same. And then you just have to pay the cost that it would take to resell that belt. So the cost to transmogrify your items is usually the vendor sell price of that item. Now, the exception to that rule, during the weekly event that happens every so often called the Trial of Style, the next one is going to be August 31st, 2020. During the Trial of Style, and this Trial of Style lasts from Monday the 31st of August till Friday the 4th of September. During those 5 days, transmogrification is free. Absolutely free. You can transmog all you want. It doesn't cost anything, but only during the Trial of Style. The other exception to that rule are pieces of gear like Azerite armor, like heirloom armor and weapons that don't have a resale value get to be transmogrified for 1 gold. For example, if I want to take my shoulders which are Azerite shoulders, and transmogrify them into something else, because there is no resale value, the cost is only 1 gold. If you're transmogrifying your heirloom armor, let's say you're a brand new character and you make a whole bunch of heirloom armor, but you want it to look like something else, like your tier 1 or tier 2. Guess what? You can, because the rules for transmogrification have changed. It used to be you have to be able to equip that item. Therefore, you have to have the level requirement to equip that item. Not anymore. For tier sets and dungeon sets, and because of the way that Blizzard has linked expansion sets together, like Classic with Burning Crusade. Classic is all by itself. The level 1 to 60 is by itself. And then Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King are linked. And Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria are linked. Because of that, you're able to transmogrify into the best gear from that expansion when you reach the level to enter that set of expansions. So, at level 1, you are allowed to transmogrify into your tier 1 and tier 2 sets, as well as any dungeon sets you've acquired on your other characters that are of the appropriate armor for the class you're playing. So if you're a brand new level 1 paladin and you have your heirloom armor on right at level 1, you can visit a transmogrifier, and for 7 or 8 gold, because you want to transmogrify your helmet, your shoulder, your cloak, your pants, your weapon, for 8 gold, you can transmogrify into the full tier 1 Lawbringer set and have the banana shoulders and have the cool helmet and be all yellow and white and look like a paladin that's wearing tier 1 from Molten Core. You can do that at level 1. At level 58, you can transmogrify into all the Burning Crusade tier gear and dungeon gear, and all of the Wrath of the Lich King dungeon and raid gear for your appropriate class. At level 78, when you begin to be able to do either Mists of Pandaria or Cataclysm content, you can then transmogrify into all the Cataclysm and Pandaria dungeon and raid gear if you've collected it for your appearances. Those are the changes that Blizzard made when they linked those expansions together. The other change they made, you are now allowed to transmogrify your weapons into legendary weapons. For example, if I wanted to make my weapon look like Frostmourne, which is a legendary weapon, Shadowmourne, guess what? I can make it look like, you see Shadowmourne there, it's listed in orange. The name is orange. That's in purple, that's in orange. I can now transmogrify my weapon to look like legendary weapons. Interesting, right? If I go to two-handed maces, I believe I can transmogrify, or Valinir is a one-handed mace. But Sulfuros, the Hand of Ragnaros, the level 60 legendary, I can transmogrify into that because I have it. Interesting, right? The one exception is the Warglaives of Azeroth can only be transmogrified on demon hunters that have completed the Black Temple time-walking Illidan kill. So if you're a demon hunter, you have to wait until Burning Crusade time-walking week comes around, and because today is the 31st of May, the next time Burning Crusade is the time-walking week is the 23rd of June. During that time-walking week, if you're a demon hunter, grab your buddies, grab your guild, grab your friends, go and do Black Temple time-walking raid, go through Kill Illidan, and if you have acquired the Warglaives of Azeroth by doing the level 70 raid as your level 120 demon hunter, just normally, so you can breeze through it and kill the whole raid in one fell swoop, and it's super easy, and you've acquired the Warglaives of Azeroth from that, and you've killed Illidan in the time-walking Black Temple raid during Burning Crusade week, you can transmog your Warglaives to look like the Warglaives of Azeroth. Demon Hunters are the only ones that can do that. But Warglaives can also be transmogrified into one-handed swords, because Demon Hunters can wear one-handed swords or Warglaives. So the rules have changed. So let me switch now into one of my other characters that's not a very high level. For example, I have a level 20 Warlock right here. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in respects to the level requirements to use certain pieces of gear. It used to be you had to be the level that gear requires. For raid gear, it was the level cap from the expansion that the raid is in. For Wrath of the Lich King, you had to be 80 to be able to transmogrify into Wrath of the Lich King raid gear. Not anymore. So if I go to Shift P and open up my big menu, and I come here to sets, and I look at, say, the Fierce Gladiator's Fellweave armor. Well, let's go to the Cruel Gladiator stuff. It says that I require level 98 to use this appearance. Well, the Cruel Gladiator stuff is from Legion. That's a lookalike of tier 20. And you have to be level 98, which is the minimum level to begin Legion content, because you start Legion content at 98 and you go till level 110. So instead of having to wait until you're the level cap for that expansion in order to use the max level gear from that expansion, you now just have to be the minimum level required to enter the expansion. If I wanted to wear stuff from Miss of Pandaria, like the Shaw Skin Regalia, which is tier 14, I have to be level 80, which is the level required to begin Cataclysm and Miss of Pandaria content. I don't have to be level 90 to use the appearance, I just have to be level 80. So yes, while there is a level requirement to use gear for Transmogrification, it's no longer the actual level that you have to equip that item. If I wanted to actually equip the Shaw Skin Regalia, actually go to the raids and equip the gear, yes, I have to be level 90 to equip the gear. But to use the appearance in Transmogrification, I just have to be the minimum level required to enter that expansion's content for questing, for raid, for doing PvP stuff, for doing that content. For Cataclysm and Miss Pandaria, it's level 80. For Warlords content, it's level 80. No, it's level 90. No, it's level 88, I think. Because this, Regalia, that's level 80. Let's go for Warlord stuff, requires level 90. Okay, so level 90, you have to be level 90 to use the Warlord stuff in appearances. If you're going to actually equip the gear, actually equip it, you have to have the level requirement. To use the appearance, minimum level required to enter that expansion's content. You can now transmogrify weapons to look like legendary weapons as long as you've obtained the legendary weapon. Staves can look like polearms if your class can equip both weapon types. One-handed swords, axes, and maces can look like each other as long as you can equip all swords, axes, and maces. Two-handed swords, axes, and maces can look like each other. They can also look like polearms if your class can equip polearms. Daggers can only be transmogged to look like daggers. Fist weapons can only be transmogrified to look like fist weapons. Warglaives can look like warglaives or one-handed swords. And then the armor has to be of the same armor type that your character equips. Plate for plate, cloth for cloth, leather for leather, etc. And then once again, the cost to actually transmogrify your gear is the resale cost, the vendor resale cost of that piece of gear. So let me get back on my paladin. And I want to show you now where all the transmogrifiers are. because the transmogrifiers are not found in every single city across this whole game. They're found in very specific places. So for vanilla, for classic WoW, for Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, the transmogrifier for the Horde is located in Orgrimmar in the Drag. There's a building right here. The first building on the right as you enter the Drag is the transmogrifiers. See, if we exit the building, we're here at the Drag. The transmogrifier for the Horde is right here. For the Alliance in Stormwind City, here's Stormwind. The transmogrifier is located in a building right here on the edge, right next to the canals on the left side of Cathedral Square. If you get to this overhang that has the entrance to the actual cathedral, you've gone too far. The transmogrifier is located right there, just before this arch. Okay? In the Burning Crusade, let's go to Outland. I am not aware of any transmogrifier on Outland, but if there were going to be a transmogrifier in Outland, they would be in Shattrath City, but I don't recall there being a transmogrifier in Shattrath City, so don't go there. In Northrend Dalaran, no transmogrifier. But if you go to New Dalaran, which is basically Old Dalaran but on the Broken Isles, you can find the transmogrifier inside the enchanting hut right there next to the Violet Citadel. In Warlords of Draenor content, when we go to actual Draenor, there is a transmogrifier in your garrison if you have the stock room, which is one of the small buildings, and it's upgraded to level 3. You have a transmogrifier in your garrison. You also have a transmogrifier in Ashran. For the Horde side up here at Warspear, the transmogrifier is located in this building. So when you zone into Warspear, you're up here, you zone in right there, and you walk down the hill and you enter this building. That's also where the portal is to Orgrimmar. There's a transmogrifier in that building. For Storm Shield, I don't think I can zoom in on the Storm Shield. Oh, I can. So when you come to Storm Shield, you come in and you're like right here, and you come down and you can see the tower and the barracks is up here. The transmogrifier is located in this building right here. Okay, for Battle for Azeroth content, for Zandalar and Kulturas, right? In Zuldazar for the Horde, down here at Dazar'alor, right around here where the Hurting Children world quest is, right here in this little building, there is a transmogrifier. For the Alliance on Kulturas, in Borealis. Can I zoom in on the Borealis map? I can. The transmogrifier is located right down here in the bottom of Tradewind Market. He's located right there. The other place where you can find a transmogrifier is on the back of the Grand Expedition Yak. So if you went to Uncle Big Pockets in Kunlai Summit, and he's located right near, if we go to the map of Kunlai Summit on Pandaria, right here at One Keg, there's a little stall right out here in front of One Keg, and you'll find Uncle Big Pockets. He sells the Grand Expedition Yak for 120,000 gold. And the Yak has a transmogrifier on his back. So if you have this mount, you always have a transmogrifier with you. So yeah, if you found this guide to the introduction to Transmogrification helpful, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, rate me a like. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you always know when new content comes out. Also, please tell your friends about us so they can come and they can enjoy these videos and enjoy the adventures just as much as you do. Finally, and most importantly of all, please remember this. World of Warcraft is just a game. And games are meant to be fun, and you're supposed to have fun while playing them. So if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Meet me back here next time when we're going to start collecting Transmogrification gear, and I'm going to show you what you can get for every class in the game, for all the raids, for all the dungeons, and in some instances for all the PvP seasons if you have Marks of Honor. I'll show you where to get the gear in the game. We're going to start with Tier 1, which is in Molten Core. So I look forward to bringing you that content. I hope you'll join me for that adventure as we go to Molten Core and kill Ragnaros and look for our Tier 1 sets. I look forward to bringing you that adventure. I hope you will join me next time. But until then, I'm Z, signing off.